Welcome to another episode of Women in Focus. Our woman in focus today is an amazing woman, a philanthropist, a mother, a daughter, a wife, all in all, a rounded person. And we've interviewed her before, and this is the second time we're going to be talking to her. Her name is Raj Arneja, and you all know her. Let's meet her because this interview is about her passionate travels and her journey to find her kids and get them home. Raj, you're most welcome in our program. How are you doing?
I'm very fine, thank you.
We've talked a lot about your business and your life, your kids. This is the first time we're going to be talking about a book that you have written, and I love the title of the book, and it is Love at First Sight.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me something about the title first.
The title was, it basically explains how I felt when I saw my babies. And it specifically came to me when somebody actually said it to me and watched me see one of my children and say, wow, I've never seen love at first sight until this moment. So that's why I had to name it that.
Beautiful.
It was pretty, yeah.
Now, you and Gurpreet ji have been married and tried to have kids and realized that both of you were not able to. Can you take me to that?
We got married very early. I was 22, he was 25, and we did a little bit of traveling, and then we came back as typical young adults would do in like, this is the late 80s.
Right.
We decided that, okay, it's time to start a family, and I wanted to too. It wasn't something that was pressurized or anything, but once we started, it was taking a little bit longer. So the first 2 or 3 years, we were just like, okay, it's going to take a little bit of time. But then I had to start getting tests, and then I realized I did have problems, and I had to get one major surgery, and I had poked and prodded for like 5 or 6 years and realized that this is not happening for me.
Right,
yeah.
right.
And yeah.
What were your feelings at that time when you realized it's not going to happen? Because I mean, we are made to believe all women dying to have kids. I don't think that happens with everybody, but I guess there is a maternal feeling or the feeling to have your own children.
My feeling was to be a mother. That gets me emotional, but
right.
yeah.
Yes.
So that was my goal.
Yeah. I want to
And
be a mom.
I want to be a mom.
Yeah.
And I was not one of those women that they have to have that natural birthing experience to feel like a mom,
Okay.
or to be a woman or whatever. That is not me. So it didn't matter. I kind of knew, and I kind of explained this in the book, and you kind of get to know my feelings. I kind of wanted to adopt anyways.
Right.
And I always had that light at the end of the tunnel. I had to try everything because that's just the way the time was. It wasn't like, okay, just don't even bother trying, let's just go and adopt. People would question. We did have family. We had, lots of support in that respect, but they did want us to try every avenue we could. And we did too, I think, at the time.
And that's a very good point that you bring in. That, when I was reading this, I wondered that if you had had your own children, when I say own children, these are your own children as well, but children that you gave birth to,
Yes.
you would have probably gone ahead and adopted more children. That was the kind of person that you are.
That is exactly right. And because Gurpreet and I had this discussion just before we got married, and it wasn't an intense discussion, it was just, I wanted to feel him out and see how he felt about adoption.
Right.
So, when he said, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Then I knew, okay, that might just be a possibility.
Isn't that just amazing that you get to meet a person that is on the same wavelength as you are?
I know.
Now, reading the book, and thank you for giving this book to me, and I've read it a couple of times.
Oh, really?
And there are some passages in it that are so beautifully written. Your emotions as when you're climbing up the stairs or going to see your child for the very first time. I'll take you to that later on, but let me just, I am jumping ahead.
Easy to do.
It's very easy to do that because it's such a beautiful book. So you and Gurpreet then decided, yeah, we're going to go and adopt a kid. I asked you this question on radio as well. Why didn't you adopt a kid from a family? And
Here?
you gave a beautiful answer. Why didn't you?
From our family.
Yeah.
I never wanted to do that. I wouldn't that's heartbreak for the person giving up a child. And I wouldn't do that in our family. And I didn't want my child ever to feel that, you know, he was unwanted by somebody. And it was just a different dynamic if you do that within the family. Nor did I have anybody in our family to give up a child.
Right.
I mean, there was my younger sister, but I would never, ever ask her
Right.
for that.
And that feeling, a child also feeling that I was unwanted.
Yes.
And would see the parents,
Yes.
you know, biological parents nearby.
Yeah.
You didn't want that at all.
I didn't want that. And
So your only option was to go and get a child from India.
yeah.
And how did that come about?
That there was a lot of family that we had in our like in India and in Canada that gave us a lot of suggestions, and they said that yes, you can get children there. There's abandoned babies, you know, in hospitals, and there was a lot of advice given to us, and they might not have thought that we would take it seriously, but I heard everything people had to say, and I think it was the advice of those people that made me go quickly, because it seemed like that it can happen.
So it was interesting to read in the book that you just went by yourself to go and
Yeah.
look for the very first baby because you adopted 2 children.
Yes.
I'm going to take a very short commercial break and come back, and you take me to the journey of finding
Kabir?
Kabir.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Raj Arneja is our woman in focus today. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Women in Focus. Raj Arneja is our woman in focus. She's written a beautiful book called Love at First Sight, and it's the love for her children. So a mother's journey to adoption. And adoption is not looked very kindly in our community. And I don't know why. Because if someone asked me to go ahead and adopt a child, I probably would be hesitant. That's the first, I'm being honest about that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But you never felt that way.
No.
And so where do you think that comes from?
That does come from my family.
Yeah?
Yeah, because it does get me emotional too. But
Okay.
my elder sister was adopted because her mother died at a very young age,
Right.
and she's my dad's sister's daughter. So my father vowed to bring her over to Canada as soon as he could, because he came in the 60s, early 60s, and he brought her over literally 4 or 5 years later. So I don't even know my life without her. So we already had that, you know, like adoption was not foreign to me. It was just very acceptable.
You're right.
Yeah, and then
Beautiful.
also in my house, we
Yeah.
did have a lot of people coming in, revolving door. So we had a lot of family members, like friends of family that came and stayed at our house. So we had just that sort of loving household, I can say.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the majority of the first few settlers, when they came here and they were allowed to bring their own families, that's how they did. They helped the entire community to
Yes.
develop, and it's a different matter now.
Yes,
People
agreed.
just don't care anything about it.
Yeah.
So here you are, you and Gurpreet both decided, okay, we're going to have a baby no matter what. So you packed your bags and you went to Delhi.
Yeah.
Did you have to do so for people who are thinking of adopting, what all did you have to do to get to Kabir?
So Because this is not a how-to book on adoption, I did go quite blindly.
Yes.
I didn't really know exactly what I was going to do when I got there.
Okay.
But again, with the advice that I had taken from the relatives from here and over there, I just sort of made my own path and went to different hospitals and spoke to some of the clerks and tried to find doctors that I could speak to say, look, if there's any abandoned babies, please call me. So that's what I did. And it wasn't really rocket science. It wasn't that hard, but it was time consuming, and it was learning curve for me because I had no idea about how India works either. So
And you're talking about the 90s.
I'm talking early 90s.
Early
yeah.
90s.
Yeah.
And so India wasn't, today's India wasn't there at that time.
No.
So a lot of hoops for you to jump over.
Yeah, and especially because I didn't really know what I was doing. So as soon as I did end up finding a baby boy who was abandoned at a hospital, then I had to figure out, okay, so now how do I adopt him? How do I take him to Canada? So I did manage to figure those things out, and I had a lot of help from the Canadian High Commission, and one of the uncles, aunt and uncle that I stayed with, that uncle had a lot of connections, so he got things done for me too. And I think India is all about connections and
Isn't it?
Knowing
Yes.
the right people. And I was thankful that I had them in helping me doing what I needed to do.
And I wanted to clarify that you were not looking for a boy to adopt.
No.
That wasn't the idea. You just wanted a baby.
I wanted a baby, and
Yeah.
I heard that there was girls. Of
Yeah.
course, because of the situation in India, I assumed that I would get a baby girl. I'd never, ever dreamt that there would be a baby boy abandoned. So, yeah.
So I'll take you to the part that I found the most beautiful in the book. And you are going in to get to see Kabir, and it's in the hospital. And that journey to go and have a look at him it brought tears to my eyes. How was that for you? You cried as well.
Yeah, I'm crying now. Oh, yeah, I was told about him, but I had no idea. I just didn't know what I was going to see.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And so he was so little and malnourished, but I
Wow.
didn't care.
No. And how old was he?
4 days.
4 days. So did you have to stay with the baby? I understand you had to stay with the baby for a few days, a few weeks in India.
I did, yeah. I stayed for 3 months.
Wow. Now those 3 months away from Canada, away from Gurpreet, how was that?
I didn't think it hard at the time.
No.
I knew I was like running on very little sleep. Because
Yes.
when I came back to Canada, I slept a lot because I had somebody taking care of Kabir. So then I realized, oh, okay, yeah, I probably need to catch up on my sleep. So those kind of things, not knowing every day to day, like, what I have to get, what paper. One day I submit one paper and they say, oh, I need this. Like every day there was something else going on, and I'm packing my kid up, in his little compartment thing that I had, whatever those things are, snugglies, and I got my diaper bag, and I'm running around the city trying to get things done.
And this is in Delhi?
This is in Delhi. So there was a lot of that running around, and I didn't find it hard, but I think I was just exhausted all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, babies are weird little things. Some babies are colicky, some babies are, content. How would you describe Kabir as a baby?
He was content if he was fed. If he wasn't fed, you would hear it from, and the rooms in India have like cement walls,
That's
and my
right.
aunt could hear it three doors down.
Bouncing.
That's how loud he was. So until this day, he becomes quiet when he's hungry because he's an adult. But boy, that kid likes to eat, and he needs the food right away. So that was the biggest thing with Kabir. When he needed to be fed, nothing could be done except just get that bottle in his mouth. So anyways, it was kind of funny to see him just gasping for air that, oh my
Right.
God, feed me now.
Now, bonding with him,
Hmm.
how long did it take you to bond with him?
Because he was in the hospital for 10 days because he had a little bit of jaundice, so I was going every day, spending a few hours with him. It wasn't until I came home, I felt like I had bonded with him, but when I had him laying in the bed on my tummy and stuff, I think that's the bonding.
Now, Kabir was about 4 years old when you decided, I want to go through this journey again.
Yeah.
Was how did that come about?
That came about because Kabir was about to start preschool.
Right.
And so I thought, if we're going to get another child and we don't know how long that process will be, if I'll be stuck in India for 3 months or 8 months or whatever. So I said to Gurpreet, I think we need to make a decision and go to India to find a baby girl.
Yeah.
And then we decided to do that just right after his 4th birthday.
Right.
We ended up heading to India at the end of November that same year.
Wow.
Yeah.
But let's take a short break and come back.
Sure.
Raj Arneja is our woman in focus today. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back. Raj, most welcome back into the program. So this time, Gurpreet went with you as well,
Yes.
right? So how was that? Easier?
Easier, definitely easier. Even with Kabir as a 4-year-old, he was such a well-behaved kid, but now I had 2 children. It wasn't easy when he left because he had to leave 6 weeks in. But during the time when we did find Kirti and doing paperwork, he did the whole thing. I didn't have to go to the notary public. I think I had to go once, that's it.
Right.
The whole time I was just taking care of my baby.
Right.
So it was good.
And you explain, and you beautifully explain your emotion when you first lay eyes on your child. Is the connection made right there and then? Something happens in your heart?
It does.
You know, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah. Because that's such an innocent little baby.
Yeah,
And I don't know what it is.
yeah. And Kirti was what, three days old when you
3
saw
days
her?
when we saw her, yeah.
And bringing Kirti, how was it with Kabir? Was Kabir okay with his attention being split?
He didn't have any problem with that.
Really?
He loved it. It's like he was 4, so it was like a playmate for him or a toy for him or a baby sister, because I think we pumped it up a lot
Yes.
that you're going to get a babysitter. I mean, we started in Canada saying we're going to get a baby sister for you. So he felt like this is something for him.
Oh, I see.
So he was pretty
You're
happy.
doing it for him.
Yeah.
Isn't that
He was
beautiful?
very happy.
How are they together? I mean, they are now what? How old are they both?
They're at 28 and 23.
Wow.
Yeah.
And their relationship?
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Kirti looks up to Kabir a lot, and yeah, they get along really well. And Kabir just recently got married, so Kirti is literally best friends with Kabir's wife, who's from Japan.
That's right.
Which I'm sure you were going to bring up. But
Here is the Japanese connection.
Yeah.
So when he came and told you he wanted to get married to a Japanese girl, how was that for you?
it was actually quite refreshing. It was like, okay, I'm happy that he found a girl. Like they met in university in the
Right.
UK, and I was very happy to hear that she was from Japan because, I had something in common with her family, and I used to even like study Japanese when I was a student in Langara, so I felt like, yeah, I can get along with them. I was pretty happy.
So, bringing up Kirti, now Kirti is an accomplished singer, musician in her own right. Her music talent, where do you think that comes from?
I don't know, but we always say that her dadi, which is Gurpreet's mom, also used to sing shabads, and
Do
it's
Kirtan.
sad that she never got to see Kirti because Kirti was only 6 months when she passed away. But
Right.
this is our story to everybody. Oh, she takes after her dadi. So it's a natural talent, God's gift.
Yeah, she is very talented. I remember asking you this question, and I do remember your answer, but I think if I don't ask people who are watching the program will say, why didn't you ask that question? Did either one of them ever want to know their biological parents?
They didn't. They just, they never asked me about it. As a matter of fact, I bring it up with them. And I have brought it up with them. Kirti did ask, but she kind of understood why it's not a good idea to know the biological parents, because from what I understood, there was an unwed mother. You go back to India and find an unwed mother who's married with children and a family.
Right.
You're going to create trouble for that person. So I didn't really think it was a good idea. And I said, as much as if you ever wanted to know who your birth mother is, even I want to know, but I don't know. And we just let it be. We don't even touch the topic at all.
Which you think is the best way to go?
It is, but they don't really, they're not finding any void in their lives. Just like I think a lot of kids that are adopted, especially in North America, maybe parents bring them up differently, say things to them about them being adopted. Like I said before, I think that the word adoption is such a foreign word in my house.
And when
There's
did
no
you tell
excuse.
them that they were adopted?
I told them when they were little, so Kabir when he was 4, because we were going, and then Kirti, I think she was probably 5 years old, and
Yeah.
just a little kid playing, and that's why they shrug their shoulders and think, okay, whatever, it doesn't mean much to them,
Right.
because they're our children.
Yeah. Isn't that beautiful? Raj, lovely talking to you about this, and it's amazing. No matter, it's been some time since this book has been released, but whenever you talk about it, you tear up.
I know. I tear up when I read it too.
I don't think that's going to ever change.
No.
But thank you for doing this, and thank you for writing this book. Beautiful. I think I admire the way you've gone about bringing these 2 children and giving them the sight, the foresight to see their future and make their future. And I think you are a very strong person. So is Gurpreet ji, and kudos to both of you.
But having said that, also we became parents,
Yes.
so we're the benefited.
Yeah, you have benefited
Yeah.
from it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Raj Arneja has been our Woman in Focus today. Don't go away. We'll be right back.